Remain unavailable. Why is it unavailable? There we go. Yep. It's a different thing. There we go. Display this while I set everything up. There we go, now I can see everything. Damn, I don't know what the hell that was about. Grab some reference and then we can start drawing. That's old. Wait for people to get in. Hello. Alright, you take care. Be safe on your way home. Let's see, let's start with something fun for the morning. There we go, we can do that. Okay. I'm gonna draw Nimis. Haven't drawn her in a while. Figure we do something fun for the morning. Hello, good morning. Draw most of her before doing other details. Gonna try to get this one done by this stream. Not exactly a big fan of two-parters, but if it happens, it happens. That's good. It's a fun set of themes. And we'll just shape her mouth like this for now. We'll come back to it. Do I have a shot of her collar? Yeah, I do. It's usually on the other side anyway. We'll do it like this until I feel like changing it. Give it like a more rounded snout. This is Nimis. This is one of my older characters. I haven't drawn her in a while. I think the last time was in a collection set. then we'll figure out where her other tendril goes once I get her other hand in there. I'd have to look at what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about, but again, that's just something I'll return to at another time, and it's likely not going to be what you think it's going to be. And that's assuming she gets used in that way, or gets used as a character. Which she probably will, but it's not going to be what you think. Or it's not going to be a design that you're thinking. Thank you. I'm not adding anything to that, dude. Like, whatever ideas you have, just do it yourself. You don't need my approval to do something. Whatever I come up with in terms of whatever I decide to do with, like, either a fan comic or any other idea with my own stuff, that will happen when it happens. But in terms of what you're doing, just do whatever you want. Have fun with it. You don't need me to decide everything for you, or because I know like you're trying to base it off of the stuff that I've drawn, but like the stuff that I would do is not going to line up to anything you're doing. So just, you know, go on your own accord. Like, I know a lot of people, no, not a lot, but like some people try to like make content based off of the stuff that I've done, and honestly, there's like no real way they could know where I would go with certain routes of things. So it's better for them to just make their own content rather than trying to figure me out. Because like there's like this was like years ago, but like someone tried to make a story based off of I had at one point, but they didn't like that my version is a lot more violent, so they tried to be more peaceful with theirs, and I was just like, well, if you're trying to make it canonical to my world, you're already doing it wrong because you're not willing to have certain characters have more impactful consequences to their actions. And then everything had to like end with like, you know, power of friendship stuff all the time, and I was just like, I'm not against power of friendship, but when that's, you know, the majority of every little thing that happens, then it kind of just takes away from the source material. So unless you're willing to, you know, actually go off of that kind of source material, then you're better off just doing things on your own, or making your own storyline, your own world, because at least then the rulings make more sense. Have a good day. Take care. Well, they don't have to kill anybody, but it's like, you know, if you're gonna use my characters, it would make more sense to actually, you know, make them use the character, like make them behave the way they would behave. If you're trying to make like a storyline that actually uses the character, like it makes more sense to actually use them rather than just them being there in name. It's kind of like how when people use Renamon for their fanfics and all that, and a lot of the time they have Renamon just not be in character. And this applies to like pretty much any fandom character. unless you establish like really hard that it's not the same character as like the games or books or anime or whatever, like if you establish that that's the case, like it's literally an alternate version and not the character, then that's fine. But you have to make that clear, or else people are going to assume that that's the same character because you chose to use that character. So you have to be extremely clear about the differences between your version and the source material version. Because if you're just going to flat out say, hey, this is like Crystal from Star Fox, then people are going to expect that character to behave in a certain way. But if you make it clear that this is not the same universe version, then you're pretty much fine. Yeah, sure, you'll still have people be upset that, oh, this is not how so-and-so would act. But if you make it clear that it's not the same character, then there's like less to worry about. And actually, that would not... actually, I guess it would be fine. It's kind of like the fanfics of Zootopia. Like, a lot of the time they try to make it function like it's the same universe as Zootopia, but then you have Nick and Judy act completely out of character. And it's like, what was the point of using these characters if they're not the characters? But yeah, if you're going to use, like, it would make more, like, if you're going to use Nick and Judy, it would make more sense to fully establish that the world that they're being used in is not the same one from the movie and all that. Like, just be really fucking clear. Like, you're much better off just you know what, let's bring this up a bit. You're just much better off like, if you're gonna go that far to change things up, you're just better off making your own content at that point. It's like, why make Nick and Judy and then make like, you know, Judy a stripper and Nick, I don't know, a drug addict, when you could just make your own story with the same exact premise. They're just not the characters. And granted, it is fun to, like, you know, take characters and toy around with them, you know, manipulate them, do whatever. But again, unless you're establishing that this is not the same continuity, I mean, obviously it can't be because you're not the creator of the series. But unless you're establishing that, though, it makes less sense to use those characters and try to say they're the ones from the movie or whatever. Just either establish that it's an alternate universe, or just make completely your own content to begin with. It just makes way more sense to do it that way. My only problem with the abortion one is just like the characters just kind of drop off the face of the earth, and there's like an immediate time skip, and there's like no real context to anything after that. And then the stuff in between just kind of muddies it. And definitely it would, Nick and Judy are a little bit out of character, especially when it comes to like the conversation about the topic. It's like it would feel better if it was if there was more to it than just an immediate no and then a freak out and then they separate and then come back, and, you know, I wouldn't say stereotypical exactly, but it seemed a little bit basic, like, oh yeah, Nick went into drinking, blah 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 blah, type of thing. It's like, yeah, that sounds about to be the checklist on something like that. But yeah, there's like that one. There's the one where Nick is a cuck, and like the premise of the story was that Judy, like the premise of one story was that Nick and Judy couldn't have kids because of their species, and so they're basically having other rabbits that were a similar color to Nick um, knock up Judy so that way they could have kids, type of thing. But then they established that Judy was actually getting a thrill sleeping with other men. But then they slowly make it so that the creator's OC basically becomes the bull for Nick and Judy, and then Nick ends up becoming a cuck for that one. So there's that story, and there's been like several others that I've read. Like I go around reading pretty much whatever looks interesting. But but yeah, because like at that point it's like, okay, so these aren't even the characters anymore, and there's like no indication that this is supposed to be like an alternate universe or anything. It just takes place as if it's in the same world as Zootopia, and then it's basically just let's make Nick a cuck the entire time, and then it just makes less and less sense as the story progresses. And like even like the OC doesn't make sense because they make him, because he's supposed to be a fox similar to Nick, but then they make him like much bigger than Nick, and then they just add in a bunch of stuff that just doesn't make sense for the character to be there. But again, it's perfectly fine to do stuff like that. Just be more clear about, you know, the world building and world establishing and AU stuff. Like just don't tie it into the original source material if you're not going to stick to it. And that's basically it, really. Like after that, it's either make an AU or make your own characters. I mean, it's pretty much as simple as that. And funny enough, Marvel and DC do that all the time. Like even though you'll have like Spider-Man and stuff like that, you'll often have like, you know, Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man, Spider-Man Reign, Darkhold Spider-Man. Like they're all different, even though they're using like small base context for each version of Spider-Man. There's always like noticeable differences, and you're like, okay, this is clearly a different Spider-Man. Like Ultimate Spider-Man, like that was a whole different thing, and that was before Miles Morales became a character. Like it was super clear that these were different versions of the characters. So yeah, if you make it clear like that, or just make your own story and characters, then you're perfectly fine. Anyway, rant's over. Sorry. I just found it interesting when people try to make content based off of what I've done, and I'm like, dude, there's not enough information for you to really go off of this. And again, that was like one of the reasons why I changed why Skylar, or how Skylar gets his abilities, because realistically, the devil would not give a shit about Skylar. The only reason why she was in the neutral ending story in the beginning of iHat when I was making it was because originally World Gates was not, or iHat was not part of World Gates' continuity and universe. So I threw her in there as more of a cameo and like a, not an Easter egg, because Easter egg is just like a hidden thing. So like more of just like a guest appearance type of thing. But then once I was taking it more seriously, I was like, okay, she wouldn't actually be here. Oh yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm trying to make it make sense. No. I don't play horror games very often. Um, like I like the story of horror games and stuff. I like the story of horror games more than playing them because I get really invested in it. Not in like a oh I'm gonna get scared type of thing, but more like I get like really what's the best way to phrase it? I just get like really immersed into the world and story of the game that I'm like not paying attention to the gameplay itself. And like it will take me like a while to actually like not pay attention to the world and pay attention to the game. So like for example, Resident Evil, if I'm playing that, it takes me a bit to really pay attention to, you know, just playing the game and like looking around for clues and stuff like or for like items and stuff like that, because most of the time I'm looking at like the environment, I'm looking at the monster designs, I'm looking at like any established lore that I find and stuff like that, or like you know how you always read like random notes and stuff like that. I'm paying attention to stuff like that all the time, and running into like enemies during gameplay, like I guess kind of jump scare, but not like in the sense of like, oh wow, this is scary type of thing. More like, oh shit, I was not paying attention and did not notice you type of thing because I was too busy thinking about other shit. So as much as I like horror games, I cannot play them because I am just thinking about other things as I'm experiencing the horror story. But I think if I were to play a horror game, it would just take me a good while to let it all sink in, and then I'll be like, all right, I can play the game and um not be thrown off too often. Shipwreck 64. Maybe it sounds familiar. I think I've seen of this, but I haven't seen like a full thing of it. I think I've only seen like screenshots of it. Yes, Satum. It's Nemesis Tum. Hello. Good afternoon on your end. It's morning for me. Yep, a fat Gadian. Oh, really? Yep, it's Nimis. She'll still be called Sis in more of like a sisterly way by Essence, but her actual name will be Nemis. There is Nemis. It's more like a play on the pun, where because Essence calls her Sis all the time, I named her Nemis because it'd be like Nemesis. So just a bad pun, but that's why she was named that. And then she's the incarnation of Gluttony, because her true form is Gluttony. I need to redesign Gluttony though, because I haven't found a satisfying design for her yet. Push this out just a little bit more. Yeah, seeing characters in like a casual stance is always fun. Like it's really basic, but I think it says a lot about characters just being able to like relax and be in a natural state. I should probably lower that a little bit more, so we'll do that in a moment. And by proxy, this would be out more. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's always the simple things that go a long way. Like in Smash Brothers Ultimate, if you taunt with Link, um, when he does the taunt where he puts his sword away, he actually pulls his scabbard a bit so that it's easier for him to sheath his sword because the sword is so long. It's like it's such a minor detail, but I like that that they put that in. Or that if his HP is at 100%, he'll have blade beam for a while or until you take damage. Mm-hmm. There we go. Nope, have not heard of that one. Oh yeah, I watch other channels that do similar stuff. It's always fun to find out whether or not games had like something hidden or like at least data of something for potential ideas that just didn't come to light. It's always interesting where an idea for a game doesn't come to fruition, but the data is still in the game, like they didn't bother removing it. And on one end, you think that, hey, doesn't that take up data or something in some way? And then on the other end, it's like, I wonder if they left that in on purpose, just because. And then sometimes it probably is just like they literally forgot that it was there because they're so busy with other things. Which is more likely to be the case. Still funny, and when they released the demo for Pokemon, I believe it was Sun and Moon. The demo version had the data of every Pokemon. And so when they data mined it, they just had the list of every single Pokemon that was ever going to appear in that game. Blake cosplaying as Lop. Could see that as an idea. She herself wouldn't do that because she's not into it, but for fun, yeah, drawing her like that wouldn't be a bad thing. I haven't really been one to draw characters wearing other characters' stuff, like outside of their universe. I should definitely do it more often. Maybe make that like an art set or something. No, that was just a version of Marcy wearing a spellcaster outfit. It had nothing to do with Dark Magician Girl or Dark Magician. I think I drew that one for fun and two as a card, like just to do it as a card. Because then I took that same picture, flipped it, changed the colors and stuff like that to make it look like a Day of the Dead version. Like, I'll say it was probably inspired by Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, but it wasn't like a direct one-to-one outfit. Yeah, I need to do more costume stuff, because I think the last ones I did was for the I Had Special with a bunch of characters doing fashion stuff. Like, aside from like casual wear, I'm talking like stuff you would normally see out in the wild. Yep, and the top has to hold them all in. It's like, bitch, stop eating. You can only hold so much. And she doesn't normally wear clothes, so she's probably not even paying attention to her outfit. Or likely isn't paying attention. Because Nimis is a natural born. Along with, you know, being the representation of gluttony. She has no need of clothing. Lore-wise, she's wearing Violet's clothes. Which is why she's wearing anything to begin with. No. Violet just let her, just gave her some clothes to wear because in the area that they live in Heaven City, they have to wear clothing. And then Essence and Nimis in particular have to wear these collars to let authorities know where they are at all times. Even though they've been vouched for and saying like, oh, they're not evil, that sort of thing. But it's just to keep tabs on them. Nimis especially because she's a natural born, unlike Essence. So they trust Essence more than they trust Nimis. It's more of a curve. Well, they've had collars forever. Like, I want to say the earliest indication of them was like in the early 2000s that they've had it. But I've always, like, back then I put collars on like almost everything. Well, not everything, but like a good majority of characters had collars. Let's see. Because I could not get enough of that. Yeah, like there are very small cases of Gadians like regaining their original memories, and getting themselves registered so that way they're able to freely walk around the city. That comes with its own pros and cons, but doing so kind of eases some people because, like, okay, they're registered, they're collared, can go from there. Nimis is the only confusing one because she's not evil, but she's a purebred basically, so they're a little more iffy with her. So she's being carefully watched. Yeah, most would prefer to not let Gadians in the first place. But others are optimistic that Gadians are not all evil because they all used to be people. Not all of them, but like the ones with the white markings on their foreheads or on their bodies. So, like, for example, Essence has the white marking on her forehead. Exactly, it's that conversation. It's like, why do we even have this if we're just gonna let them in? But they have to be wearing the collars at all times, including bathing. And aside from the band itself, disarming the collar is not easy, and will likely let authorities know if it's been tampered with. I'd say if Essence were to go to the underground, there's a bigger chance of that or like if they go to the underground, there's a bigger chance of that causing suspicion because the underground will make their collar signals go missing. Like it won't be tracked. With that said, I'll have to revisit how I handle that because this is all like newer established stuff. Back when I don't think I gave Essence a collar back in the day. Like not in the earlier stuff. So a lot of this is like new stuff for when the series comes back. I'd have to look at the older pages to see when she started wearing it. And like where she was during all this. I'm just kind of skimming through just to see if I put her anywhere specific. I don't think she was there at the time. Doesn't look like it. No, she was there, but she was already wearing the collar. At least in one of the revisions that I did, that was the case. Thank you. Figured at least draw something fun for Thursdays. Can call it Thirsty Thursdays or something. Right? It's like I may not be perfect at it, but at least a little bit better at it. Basically, that my art style is like when you spend a long period of time drawing the way you draw, at some point you're gonna be a little bit more efficient at it. I'm gonna draw her dump truck of an ass. Essence is slightly annoyed of Nimis's gluttony, but this is like before she even knows that Nimis is gluttony. She just thinks that Nimis has a bad eating habit. And like Nimis has no concept of money. So often Essence has to buy her a bunch of shit. It's either her or Eon. Oh yeah, she definitely still has a bad eating habit. Even once that's found out, it's like, oh, you're gluttony? That explains a lot. But this is Nemes in a state where she doesn't really know that she's gluttony. Because once it's established that she gets registered and enters the city, that's when one of the main villains just basically keeps her as a sleeper agent. Without her even being aware of it. Well, I mean, duh, that's the whole point of a sleeper agent. But like, she's not in on the plan. Like, she wasn't like aware of the plan and then made into a sleeper agent. She was just always a sleeper agent from start to finish. Yeah, she's a fun one. Hell, I remember when I was drawing her in the early days, and I got so much shit from people saying like, oh, fat is not attractive, blah 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 blah, and they didn't like me drawing Nemes gorging herself all the time. Me, I didn't give a shit. I was like, well, I like it, so bye. It's like, you don't have to look at it if you don't like it. And like, some people tried to argue, it's like, oh, well, I couldn't tell in the thumbnail, and that's why I clicked on it. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. But once you find out what it is, then you just leave. And then later on, when thumbnails would be blurred if they're like a certain like a mature rating or whatever, that's like another indication. It's like, well, it's mature, so that's already one indication that you should decide whether or not you want to be clicking on it. And two, once you already know what I draw, you shouldn't be coming back, right? And sure enough, sometimes the same person would come back trying to bitch. So that was always a fun time, and I will not answer that. I will just let this person know that I am streaming as soon as my phone allows me to do so. Come on. Phone. Let me text. Thank you, Jesus. Okay. So anyway, long story short, I kept drawing fat characters. Not sure how that panned out, but you know. It also doesn't help in Nemesis' case that she has a fucking tail. So the shorts that she was given doesn't exactly help in her case. Well, they were shorts, now they almost look like fucking underwear. And then Essence was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna wear uh, a thong-like material for pants. Or not thong, but just like underwear material. Or material that looks like pants. Or that is pants. We won Viro in the divorce. Exactly. Because like back then I was drawing all kinds of shit. I was drawing cat girls, demons, machine stuff, the occasional fat character every once in a while. It wasn't until I had that it ramped up, and that was like years later. And again, like I was always going to draw something Way Game related. I just hadn't like fully planned out what I was going to do, and then the whole situation with Hetty happened, and that's when I was just like, nah, I'm gonna make something, and then I did. Now it's fat cat girls, fat demons, fat cyborgs. I haven't done a fat cyborg. Should probably do that at some point. Have I done a fat cat girl? I mean, I guess fan art, but not like my own character. Has there been a fat cyborg? Art-wise, yes, there has been. Not by me, but I've seen people draw fat cyborgs. I mean, I think Star Wars technically has fat cyborgs. In that one Clone Wars short. Not sure why the experiments that happened to them made them fat, but whatever. I'm not gonna question it. It wasn't like oh, this is a hot thing. It was just like, huh, I wonder why that happened. But yeah, there's been fat cyborgs drawn by people, as well as like Transformer characters being drawn fat, or like vehicles drawn as fat anthropomorphic characters. So yeah, the idea has been done. Very, very, very few ideas have been new in recent years. I think like one of the few times I was like, okay, that's new, was when Human Centipede came out. At least I think that was the case. For all I know, that was probably done in like Castlevania or something. For all I know. Or some Eldridge story. I've been unmolested by deviants, more accurate. Yeah, that's what I think it was with when they were putting that container to mutate them. I think that was what happened. Kind of showing that she's getting a little too big for her britches. But yeah, one of the scary issues with Nimis is that if her main core were to instruct her to devour somebody, she wouldn't have a choice in the matter. Like if somebody was figuring some shit out and she had to dispose of them. Basically like the character Gourmet from Yu Yu Hakusho, only that she doesn't get their powers or anything when she eats them. That would be terrifying if she got powers after eating them. Your thigh come out just a little bit more. Alright, we can listen to something else. You can give her a bigger gut. Yes, I have. And I just drew one recently for the next slice of life because Tree Star's stepdad is a goat. There's also a homunculus named what did I name him? It's been forever since I've seen him. Where are you? There's a homunculus character named Arrogance, who is a goat. God, he needs a redesign. I drew him back in 2006. Damn, he is 20 years. He'll almost be 20 years old. Good lord. Yeah, Lizzie's also a goat. She has artwork, and yet I still haven't used her for it. And she was supposed to be the start of Worldgate I Had Secrets, and then that got given to Caitlin. Well, technically, Fat Blake, but it was given to Caitlin first. And I should be having pages of that coming out pretty soon. I'm gonna try to have pages of Secrets come out between Friday and Saturday and Sundays, so I can try to have those come out more consistently during the weekend. And like I said, after this Monday, or next Monday, we'll get more clarification on what's going on. That way I'll have more time to work on stuff. You know what? It'd probably make more sense if I just turned the damn thing, so I know what the hell I'm looking at. It's like, you have technology now, use it. No, they're gonna try to figure out how to get more out of me while also trying to figure out how to stab me in the back. Like, alright, we're gonna sign him in, but then we're gonna figure out how to take all his shit. Meanwhile, me, joke's on you. I knew you'd do some shit like this. That's why I came up with like 6 other things that would be just as useful or interesting. Just tighten this up more. I had to think for a moment. I was like, wasn't there markings on her ass? Like, oh yeah, it's on the inner parts of her ass. In between her crotch, but we're obviously not going to see any of that. Let's draw her underwear straining. Or her, not underwear, but her shorts straining. It's like, bitch, stop. Okay. Oh yeah, I need to draw. I think it's a little bit too high up. Okay, let's see. Might want to draw a little bit more of her fat going underneath her outfit. Thank you. Okay, I think I got everything. Is this our colors? Looks about right. I don't think it's affected by lighting. So we can get to the coloring part. Oh, forgot to draw the other strap. Do that in a moment. God damn it. Doing alright, just working on this. Is her top a different color than her skin? No. What are my thoughts on Vor? They're fine with me. Is there like anything in particular that you're asking about Vor? Kind of depends. That's like one of those areas that's like really hard to tread. I would say I don't know, because there's clearly videos and stuff of people drawing characters that are in similar situations, so I don't know. I'd say the likelihood of me doing it is pretty up there. And then it just boils down to whatever the hell YouTube decides. Because YouTube has like videos of characters from Marvel Zombies eating people and stuff like that. So at that point, it's like, if Vor's not okay, then that shouldn't be okay. One of those like weird scenarios. It feels like they just have those rules there in the off chance where of like something coming up, and then they can just say it's against the rules rather than actually giving a shit. That's like the best way to put it. Well, a second channel honestly doesn't matter because if they ever like, let's just say you get banned from YouTube for whatever reason, even if you have a second channel that's against their rules, and if they find out that you're using a second channel, that will be banned as well. So half the time I don't understand why people make second channels other than trying to keep certain interests in line. So like, for example, if people like you and you've made like videos about Mario and videos about Sonic, well, you might have them mixed up because, you know, every once in a while people who like Mario get frustrated that you make videos about Sonic. So that's when you would make the second channel about that, sure. But if either of them get in trouble for whatever reason, then it doesn't matter having a second channel because they'll both get screwed over. But yeah, like, trying to do that to play it safe isn't gonna do anything if they decide to ban you. But I don't see any reason why they would ban you. Or, I mean, they probably won't even ban you. If anything, they'll just take down the video. But even then, it's like, they have, again, there are videos of like Marvel characters eating people because of Marvel zombies and stuff like that. Or in some cases, some characters in Marvel aren't even zombies and they still eat people. So at that point, if that's okay, then I don't see why Vor wouldn't be okay. The only thing they have if they're iffy about is like sexual content, because you can technically draw nudity and stuff like that, but you can't draw it in a way that would drive up arousal, which is such a very vague and idiotic rule, because literally anything can cause that, whether it's sexual or not. So it just sounds like they have that rule there just in case something really specific comes up, and that way they can just say sexual content and then be done with it. And now I know why I had that line there. But let's round out her face a little bit more. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, oh yes, this is okay, but then you can't do it in this particular way. And I'm like, so how do you draw? Because like when they say don't draw sexual content in a way that would cause arousal or is explicit, and I'm like, wouldn't that inherently be the thing anyway? Because someone's going to find it attractive. And the same thing goes for clothed characters. It's like, if you were to, like, for example, Rogue from X-Men, if you were to just show the screenshot from the Apocalypse episode where it shows Rogue's ass, is that something that could be removed? Or, you know, Mystique in general, since she's technically naked in the X-Men movies? Also, have you seen that one YouTuber who plays a lot of fetish games along with various animations? Well, I saw the shark animation, but I don't know about the playing a lot of fetish games and all that. I can just see how much backlash they could get for striking the comic story and channel rating. Oh, he passed away. That's sad. Condolences for him. But yeah, like, almost anything from stuff like that can be seen as explicit. So it just feels like it's a rule that's there in case something happens. And plus, we have the fucking Meat Canyon video with cum all over the place, so I don't even know anymore. And like the Meat Canyon thing is just like another addition. It's not like, oh, this is the first video to do it or something like that. It's like, no, that's been around on fucking YouTube since forever. I mean, it took forever for the Elsa and Spider-Man stuff to get shot down. Although that didn't change anything because all they did was just make more content like that. But just under different characters. I honestly don't think YouTube really gives a shit. As long as it makes money. The only time they care is if advertisers raise a fuss. Who the hell from Florida is trying to talk to me? There's exactly one person in Florida who would talk to me, and that is not their number. Smells like somebody's barbecuing. At least that better be barbecue. No, I will not be enticed by your tacos. It's weird, probably a lot of loops and for people that know how to get around. Yeah, like there's a lot of loopholes people have figured out with YouTube videos and stuff, mostly when it comes to like content claims and stuff like that. But another majority of the time it's just like most don't care. The only the most that people usually have to worry about is just fucking music. Because music is the only thing that is like a giant pain in the ass compared to pretty much everything else. So if you can get past the the music content ID stuff, then you're pretty much fine. Seeing if I'm allowed to show this. No, because technically this could cause arousal, so I have to do this off screen. Really just need like the base color though. I can figure out the rest. Make it like a little bit lighter, just so it's easier to manipulate. Might be a scenario where I gotta do it manually. that doesn't make sense. So what about the other part? That makes a little more sense, but let's see if there's any other linear light, maybe. Thank you. I have a friend who makes occasional Vorvid with some ink content. Yeah, if people make gift art, that's fine. But yeah, I'm planning on making similar content in the future. It's just a matter of when. Okay, it's between linear light and hard light. Let's do 80%. And just darken this a bit. There we go. If you do gift art, make sure your username is on the file, because I always like keeping track of who does what, and sometimes it's annoying when I don't know who made certain artwork. There's like a small handful of art that I have saved that I have no idea who made it because they didn't leave their name, and their name is not like on the artwork somewhere. And they never posted it anywhere else as far as I can tell, so it's almost lost art if it wasn't for me holding on to it. Or at the very least, not known enough for it to be found. Do some cleanup. Details of the gift? I mean, you can say it here, you can send me a note on like DeviantArt, for Infinity, Ink Bunny. Any of those was fine. Unless it's like something specific that you want to say in private. Alright, if you do, I'll look at it later. Likely after the stream. all that's left is the food she's holding, and then we can move on. You too, have a good day. That she does. Especially when it's pretty much anything. It's interesting how much of the soundtrack appears in the second game.
I mean, it makes sense.
If Nima had to decide her mood right now, what would it be? Besides hungry. Pretty happy. And maybe surprised because her shorts are ripping, but other than that, she's pretty calm and chill. She's kind of the type who's just like happy to be included while she sits and watches everybody else do stuff, and then she's just, you know, in the background snacking, unless she has like some form of input. Not much. Thanks. I'm definitely getting mixed signals from this song. Nice song though. And I'm going to call it for now. I will probably finish this up off stream because it's not really going to take much else. And yeah, I should be putting up Slice of Life stuff later today. And then hopefully tomorrow or this weekend I can put up some secrets pages. I'll probably touch up her belly a little bit more, so that way that doesn't look like just a straight line on it. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming, and I will stream again tonight. Probably work on something random or something. I don't know. Depends on how I go about my day. But yeah, you guys all have a good day, and I will see you guys